Yeah, yesterday I was hanging out with Dan. Today I'm hanging out with Mike. We're gonna be heading out to Frankenstein's, the collectibles warehouse show thingy. We're also waiting for another friend to get back to us, but he is on the bus and kind of flaky, so we'll see how it works out. He said he'll have an ETA of about 90 minutes, so we'll probably see you in about, 3 hours. Modern video games aren't based around the whole...
You get to point A to point B.
No, it's games were originally based around the arcade system, where you were supposed to play it and you were supposed to lose. So a lot of the original, like the retro home games, still had that kind of specter behind them. Is that you weren't they were supposed to be hard. They're supposed to take your money and kill you as fast as possible, so you have to spend more money to play again. And a lot of games, once they made the jump from the arcade to the home, they didn't know what to do because you could play it as much as you wanted. So sometimes they gave you limited continues, sometimes they gave you no continues. So a lot of the home versions were actually harder than the arcade ones. And then there was that time where they realized that people would stop playing the arcade version because they could just buy the home one, or they could just rent the home one for like $2, $3, and then bring it back, and then they'll have played the games and they've gotten good at it, so they can go to the arcade and just play it all as much as they want. Stuff like Street Fighter.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the retro games.
Yeah, I mean, again, like retro games, like Battletoads. Battletoads was so hard because of rentals. They made it that much harder because they could rent the game, and they wanted to make sure that they couldn't beat it in a weekend. So they made it so brutally, unforgivingly hard. Mm-hmm. The Japanese version is way easier because they don't have game rentals in Japan. But now games are starting to get easier because they're able to. People want to tell a story instead of trying to make it just so brutally hard. So there is sort of this disconnect that gamers today are coddled, but they're not necessarily coddled. It's just they don't make games that hard because they don't have to anymore. Well, it's just a totally different way of doing it. It's just a different way of thinking.
No, but what I was thinking about is the games like from the 80s to today is that, well, my little cousin plays Super Mario from the N64 series, but she only just plays one level. Again and again and again because she likes playing like that, instead of continuing with the story and getting through the whole thing. That's what I'm trying to say is that back then you had to go to one level and then it makes you go to that other level and then it keeps you progressing through the story and makes it harder and harder. Some of the gamers, I think nowadays are getting, like you're saying, getting coddled into...
Well, not only that, they put so much time into the stories. Mm-hmm. The developers want these games to be beaten. They want them to be able to beat the game. But then you get into stuff like Binding of Isaac, which are made by people like our age, like Florian Himsel, Edmund Neal. They're like our age, so they grew up with the whole retro gaming. They still love that kind of challenge. So Binding of Isaac, it's not very heavy on the story, honestly.
Yeah. It's more getting through the levels.
But it's just so brutally, unforgivingly hard. Because if you die, that's it. You never get to continue. You just have to start over again, and it's completely random. You might get a better trade-off that time. You might get a worse one.
And I was thinking of like with Spyro and some of the other new games that are out, where you got one main area where you just wander around.
Yeah, the hub area, and then you get all the stuff from there. That goes back to Super Mario 64. That he kind of invented that style of platformer. Which I like the Mario 64 style, but I really like the linear Mario style as well, like the stuff in New Super Mario Brothers. Those are all really good.
And it's also that, like what you were saying, is that games are getting easier and easier to play too.
Yeah. Well, because now they have
checkpoints, save points, and all the other stuff.
But again, the developers want you to be able to beat it. But they're realizing that games have been made really easy. So a lot of them are putting in the regular modes, and then like easy, medium, hard, and then they're putting the like unforgivingly hard mode, like in BioShock Infinite, the 1999 mode. In XCOM, it's the classic mode, with the option of turning on Iron Man mode, which means you can't reload an old save. So if your guys die, they're dead. Yeah.
That's good, but I still hope kids realize all the old games were a lot of fun back then.
Yeah.
And give it a try.
Yeah, it's just not just because they have
infinite saves and.
Well, it's just because the fact that the graphics weren't as good, but there has been a big resurgence of retro games. And again, stuff like Binding of Isaac looks just like that classic look to it. Although it is
a lot of the indie games that go back to the retro gaming.
Stuff like V.E.D.A, Cave Story, all that kind of stuff. Las Vegas Poker and Blackjack, the one for the Intellivision, was my earliest gaming experience that I can remember. I was like 3 years old, maybe younger, like 2 or 3 years old. My brother was playing it. He was playing. He must have been, I think, 5 at the time. He was playing it, and I think he got like a really good hand. So he went off to tell my mom, "Hey, Mom, look at this awesome hand I got." And it was like before the deal. And he got his cards, and he's gonna trade them away and get the new ones. So, and I was just kind of sitting there watching him. So he ran off to get my mom. So I crawled up to the controller, and I'm looking at it, and I just see the dealer's face, like smiling on number 5. I'm like, that's funny. I press it, and I traded away one of his cards. Oh. And so he came back, and he's like, "Damn it, Doug, you fucked up my game." Well, he didn't say that. He was 5 years old, but. And my mom said, "He doesn't know what he's doing. He's 2 years old." Yeah, that was my earliest gaming experience. Our server's laughing at us right now.
I think the earliest gaming experience I did, kind of the Intellivision, but those pocket, not the Game & Watch times.
Oh, like the little handheld, the LCD one, Tiger Electronics.
Yeah, it's like the one with the spaceship and the people dropping, and you had to pick up the people with the spaceship. And got pretty good at that. And then I upgraded to the Tiger games, which was the pinball one and also the football one that they had.
During that age, when I was that age, I didn't really like those kind of games. I didn't like the ones where you had to go for the high score. I liked the ones with an adventure. I liked the ones with a story. I like stuff like Super Mario Brothers. I originally fell in love with RPGs. Stuff like Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 2 was my first RPG experience. I loved it. Dragon Warrior. I'll play that game for hours, and I would just sit there grinding against enemies. And I actually carried a calculator with me. Every time I beat an enemy, I'd put in the experience points, and I'd hit the subtract button, so I knew how much I needed. Even though I could have called Gwaylen at any time, and she would have told me, but I didn't really get into first-person shooters until my brother got Doom for the Super NES. And he would play that game all the time. It came in a blood red cartridge. One of the few games that came in a cartridge color other than gray. They came in this blood red cartridge. And he pre-ordered it, so we got a poster and a strategy guide for it.
Oh, nice.
And I used to read the strategy guide all the time. It was the most mature game we had in the house. But he bought it with his own money, so my mom couldn't do anything about it. He would, say a fireball was coming at him, he would hold the strafe button and actually move his head to the left to dodge out of the way.
Oh god, that's the Super Mario thing too.
He moved the controller.
The controller up and
bouncing. And it's like he'd have the controller, you'd have to move it when he was jumping. Because my mom would do that, even back in the day. She would move the controller with her hand, trying to get it to go further. Didn't do anything. Motion controls hadn't even been considered at that point. It's just instinctually she tried to get it to go harder, to go
basically
further.
Going like this and this and this, and then you fall off the chair.
Jump, Mila, and go. My mom would have an open house, so she would have a big banquet table set up in the living room. So we had the banquet table on the left, the coffee table on the right. He would sit in the middle, right in front of the TV, playing Doom. I remember one time he dodged an imp fireball. He dodged it, and he dodged to the left, and he moved to the left, and he hit his head against the banquet table. Time in class, we actually turned that song into a math problem.
The smoke 2 joints song?
Yeah, it's like, okay, if he smokes 2 joints in the morning, smokes 2 joints at night, 2 joints in the afternoon, 2 joints at the time of peace, and 2 at time of war, and he smokes 2 joints before he smokes 2 joints, then he smokes 2 more. How many joints does he smoke a day?
Well, it depends on when the song's made.
Well, it doesn't matter. Because if it's 2 joints at the time of peace, 2 joints at the time of war, it doesn't matter when it was made.
It's like Vietnam.
They're at war, so he would smoke 2 joints. But if they're at peace, he would smoke 2 joints.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah, I would argue that the 2 joints is the base number. So smoking 2 joints is like smoke X joints. Mm-hmm. So every time he smokes X joints, it's a time of peace or it's a time of war, so it's 2. So he smokes 2 joints in the morning, 2 joints at night, and 2 joints in the afternoon. But he smokes 2 before he smokes 2, and then he smokes 2 more. So that's 6 every time he smokes joints. So that's, if he smokes joints 3 times a day, that's 18 joints a day. If he's about to smoke 2 joints, that means he first has to smoke 2 joints. So
that's the reason why it's X times 2.
And then he smokes 2 more.
So that's the second time you've done it.
So it's X, X, X. So it's 3X. And X equals 2. So he smokes 6 joints in every session. And he smokes 2 joints in the morning, 2 joints at night, and 2 joints in the afternoon. That's 3 sessions. So that's 6 joints for each session, so that's 18 joints a day.
Yeah, so X would be a session, and the times 2 would be basically the 2 joints that he's smoking.
Yeah. So he would smoke 3X in every session, and X equals 2, so that'd be 6.
No. X would be equal to the number of times he's done it. Times 2 is the 2 joints that he's smoking. So it'd be X and then in parentheses and then 2. Or X2.
No, it'd be X3, because he smokes 2, 2, and 2. So it'd be 3X.
Actually be X2. If X is the event.
If X is the event, yeah, and there's 3, so there's 3 events. And then he smokes
times 2.
And then he smokes, there's 3 events, so then he smokes 3 times at each event, and he smokes 2 joints at each time. So that's 2 times. So that's 2 times 3 times 3. That's 18. Parking is always a bitch at this place. Are they leaving? Are they leaving? Are they walking through the gate?
Crap.
Fucking. God damn it.
Damn.
Cock tease. Just to find a place to park, but it's way the hell out here. Can't even see Frankenstein's from here. Move over a bit. And it's way the hell out in the distance. So yeah, we got a bit of a walk ahead of us.
Oh, I think I see my home from here.
I can see it's right over there. Hi, Mom. Collector's Edition, Dreamcast stuff. Emerald vs. Capcom 2. The old Bleed.
Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver. I have that for the PS. I have that for the PlayStation. Nightmare Creatures. Yep, the Ring Terror's Realm. RPG Maker. Wow. Grandia. Chrono Cross. Oh, there you go. Fighter Stick.
Yeah, for $99.
Brutal Paws of Fury. Brutal Paws of Fury. 40 Winks. That's what's actually a pretty good old classic platformer. Symphony of the Night. Haha. Oh, these must be imports, I guess. Sega classic stuff. You take our dress off. So of course they're naked. Yeah. Oh, the portal gun. Nice. I want one. Because I've been wanting Mad World. Mad World looks like it's fun.
Final Fantasy, I'm in there.
I have that. How much are they charging for it?
80.
80? Oh, it's in the box. All right. Clue Land, 250 bucks. Wow. Tellero Boxer. Wow. That's the one game I always wanted for the Virtual Boy, but I never got. What the hell is this? Dexter's Laboratory? Oh, that's cool. Cool. Hey, it's Mewtwo. I have one of you. Oh, he is kind of a clone. Ooh, Morrowind. 100 bucks. Fuck that. I can get it on Steam for 8. We got
Nuts.
Yep. Prinny 2. And I picked up Baten-Kaitos, which is a GameCube game that I've heard a lot of good things about. It uses kind of a card battle system for choosing attacks. And I got Mad World. Since I bought them together, I was able to talk them down to 19 bucks, which was the same price as that other place was selling just for Baten-Kaitos. So